where you have the Rams, the Seahawks, the Broncos, and the Patriots. I would love to absolutely destroy you on this list. I think we all kind of agree with this. My only question for you is, how close did the Packers make it with their win?
Pretty close, but we got the Packers are one of those teams where I try to take the whole body of work into account. I mean, 2 weeks ago, we were trying to fire Matt LaFleur, right? Like, we remember that ugly game they had against the Eagles on Monday night. They have lost to the Panthers. They have lost to the Browns. They barely beat the Giants, barely beat the Cardinals. So I'm not saying they haven't turned a corner. They're not getting better, because they are. I mean, wins against the Lions and Bears in back-to-back weeks surely got them on the right path. But also, what if Keyshawn Nixon doesn't be aware that Cole Kmet is running in the end zone and Caleb hits him for a game-tying touchdown? Like, it's the Packers are living on the edge just about every week. They're not just beating the heck out of teams. The Patriots have been sometimes. The Broncos never do. But it was close. But at the same time, I had a tough time downgrading the Broncos or downgrading the Patriots. I think the Packers are where they need to be for now.
So let's look into the next group of teams where the Packers are at 5 at 9-3-1. The Bears in at 6. The Houston Texans skyrocketing up to the 7th spot. Buffalo Bills at 8. Finally, the Houston Texans are where they belong, squarely in the top 10. Why this week, Frank? Why are the Houston Texans now the 7th-ranked team in your power rankings?
It was a bit of a jump up, but watching them go on the road to Arrowhead Stadium and hold Patrick Mahomes to a passer rating of 19. 19. Like, if you spike the ball into the ground every play, your passer rating is like 37. Like, it was amazing.
Still higher than Jalen Hurts' last night.
And you know what? My good buddy Fitz, I heard him, before the break, talking about how he trusts Josh Allen so much in the AFC. Well, I saw the Texas defense play Josh Allen 3 weeks ago. It was not pretty on the Bills side of it. This Texans team now has won 5 in a row. And these are quality wins they're stacking up. They beat the Jaguars, who are in the playoffs. They beat the Bills, who are right now the AFC favorites at BetMGM, which is crazy to me. Beat the Colts when they were still healthy and a viable team. And then they went at the Chiefs. That's 4 of their last 5 games. Like, those are quality wins. And they just pass the eye test. You watch this team every week defensively, and you're like, this is the they're giving off such 2015 Broncos vibes to me, where the offense is just broken. Like, the offense is not very good. I get that, and it's hard to get to a Super Bowl with an offense that bad, but the defense is just so good it doesn't matter. They are shutting everybody's water off. It is very impressive what the Texans are doing. And the whole, who do we trust in the AFC? Everybody's got flaws. So if you say the Texans offense isn't good enough to make a Super Bowl, most years I'd agree. In this year, I'm like, well, give me any team in the AFC and I'll tell you what the flaw is. Like, for the Bills, it's everything other than number 17. Like, I mean, it's, for the Broncos, it's their offense. For the Patriots, it's kind of everything. Like, I mean, the Patriots metrics are very, very low for an 11-2 team. So in this really, really flawed AFC, why not the Texans? Why not just pick the one reliable unit in the NFL, which is their defense?
I heard someone describe the Texans defense as a bunch of gremlins running around, and it's so true.
It is. They punish you. They beat the heck out of you. Oh, it is. D'Amico Ryans, hats off. They have really put together a great defense out there. You got Petrie running around, almost decapitating dudes, and Will Anderson and Hunter off the edge. Nobody can block them. And it's just week after week I watch that defense, and I'm like, they're the one team that stands out right now as the one that's peaking at the right time.
I know, Caroline, real quick, one quick thought on that. Frank, just because you're the historian, I keep looking at this defense, and it actually reminds me of the Ravens defense that was unstoppable in the early 2000s. Like, I know that's a lofty comparison.
It is very lofty, but I don't disagree.
I know, but I felt like for that team, like once the Ravens scored 10, you weren't going to win, and this feels very similar. Caroline, go ahead.
Yeah, I want to look at that Bears team. They stay pat at 6, even in a loss. Yeah. And I think that's the right move, Frank. As much as we give you a whole bunch of crap in your rankings, and trust me, we will give you plenty of crap, I think that's the right move. They were so competitive in that game. They were so physical in that game. Did you consider dropping the Bears after that loss to Green Bay? And what do you feel like you learned about the Bears against Green Bay?
Yeah, and honestly, I didn't really consider it. I mean, somebody else would have had to have earned it. I mean, moving the Texans all the way to 6 would have been very aggressive. So I just looked at it this way. I said, I've been kind of low on the Bears, and Bears fans don't like me. I get that. But it's one of those things where I look at this game and I say, you went on a road to Green Bay with 22 seconds left. You were running a 4th down play with a chance to tie it at Lambeau Field. There's nothing wrong with that loss at all. Like, there really isn't. And they get the matchup in 2 weeks, week 16 at Soldier Field on a Saturday night. That's kind of the proving ground. Like, okay, Bears fans particularly, if that team is as good as you're telling me it is, all right, go beat the Packers. You're at home. It's going to be cold. It's going to be terrible. Almost beat them in Lambeau Field, or at least tie them, take them overtime. Okay, show me what you're all about in that game. That is the proving ground to me for the Bears. What do you do in that rematch in Chicago? But I didn't feel like they deserved to be moved down just because they lost. It was a very competitive game, coin flip at the end. I did not like the call on 4th and 2 there, 4th and 1. It just run the ball, get the first down, call your timeout. You still got plenty of time to get in the end zone. But they were aggressive. They went for it. Didn't come up, the way they wanted to. But that doesn't mean that they're any worse of a team. I'm more impressed with the Bears after that game, hanging in the way they did. This is a Bears team I've been low on because lack of quality wins, a lot of close wins against teams like the Raiders. Sorry, Fitz. And but this game, on the heels of beating the heck out of the Eagles, this game I was like, okay, that actually makes me more confident in the Bears going forward because they did play the Packers toe to toe in that game at Lambeau.
If the world only knew how many times I get just a text that says "sorry, Fitz," and I know that it means inevitably it's about the Raiders. All right, let's go to the next grouping that we have here because I got a question for you about who you've beaten and how it matters. The San Francisco 49ers sit at 9. Now the Chargers move up 3 for you after their big win. The Lions stay put. The Eagles go down 5. We'll get to the Eagles in a second, but first the 49ers. I just want to read this to anybody that hasn't paid attention, right? Since over the course of the last couple of months, the 49ers have losses to the Texans, a good team, the Rams, a good team, all right?
Yep.
In that same span, their wins that have gotten them right to where they are against the Falcons, suck, the Giants, suck, the Cardinals, suck, the Panthers, okay, and the Browns. What am I supposed to make of a 49ers team that honestly is just beating up on mostly bad teams and losing to good teams?
Yeah, and that's hard. That's why I'm not gung-ho on the 49ers, and I also realize their defense is – I still don't think it's very good, although Robert Saleh is doing really, really good work with that defense to get them to where they are. And also, like, look at it this way. I was, like, looking at the 49ers schedule and saying, all right, are they going to make the playoffs? I don't know because they get this game at Indianapolis in a couple of weeks. That's really tough. Well, now, okay, like they're probably going to go beat the heck out of the Colts in that game. So they're catching – the breaks they didn't catch with injuries, they're catching with the schedule. They're beating the teams they should beat, and that's a skill. And that's, not everybody beats the teams they should beat in this NFL season. So I give the 49ers credit for that, but I don't move them way up for a team that has their record that's like 97% to make the playoffs based on the various projections. I'm still a little lukewarm on them just because of that. Like, yeah, where's the win where you're like, I guess going back all the way back to that Thursday night when they beat the Rams, that was a really, really good win. But that was a long time ago, too. Recently,
and Frank, real quick, I'll say, too, they have the Titans, the Colts, and the Bears their Titans and Colts are their bad games coming up. Then they finish with the Bears.
And the Bears are at home, if I remember right. Yeah. The Bears, they get at home. So it's like, okay. Like, they're going to moonwalk back into the playoffs. And they're not necessarily a team I'd want to play in the playoffs because they're really, really well coached and they can put up points on.
So the Eagles now on a 3-game losing streak. Jalen Hurts coming off of a 4-pick game plus a fumble, and 2 of those came in the same play. First player in NFL history to throw an interception and fumble in the same play. The Eagles have a positivity rabbit in the locker room, which can never be a good sign. Concern level for the Eagles. Where are we at?
They're broken. Like and weeks ago, I kept saying, like, what? We're overreacting because it's Philly and everything is blown out of proportion. This team is still whatever their record was, 7-1 or whatever they were at that point. But you watch this offense week after week, and it's just if you get to mid-December and your offensive issues haven't been fixed, they're not going to be fixed. Like, you would have fixed them by now. You've had 3+ months to get this done. And it's just week after week, you're like, can they get anything going? They scored 1 touchdown last night. I mean, Saquon Barkley had a really, really good game, and they still only scored 1 touchdown. And that was on a long run by Saquon. And they're one of their few creative plays all season where they fake the tush push and pitch it out to Saquon. They cannot win a Super Bowl. They can't make a deep playoff run with an offense like this. Like, their defense is really, really good, But right now, everything else on that offense is just broken, and I don't get it. I get their offensive coordinator is an issue, and Nick Sirianni refuses to make a change. He's being very stubborn about this. Perhaps I go back to, you remember a couple years ago when they faded down the stretch, and it was like this, Nick Sirianni might get fired, and they delayed the press conference, and they all came out and they said, Nick Sirianni's still our coach, but we're stripping all of his offensive play calling power. I wonder if Nick Sirianni's passively aggressively saying, okay, you don't want me to call plays anymore. Here you go. Here's Kevin Patullo. I'm not demoting him at all. Like, I do wonder if that's going on because there's no other reason. The offensive coordinator, Patullo, needs to be demoted. Like, he is not calling a good game in any way. When you have A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and Dallas Goedert, Saquon Barkley, and Hurts on that offensive, you shouldn't be this bad on offense, but they are. It's an unwatchable offense at this point.
I've spent so much time. I consistently say, wow, we waste our time in the summer with some of these conversations that don't matter. Offensive, defensive coordinators matter. I'm just saying, look at the Lions, look at the Eagles. Every time you change coordinators, it matters. I will die on that hill. Sorry, Caroline.
No, all good. But let's take a look at the next group of teams. We've got the Jags at 13, the Dallas Cowboys, who are relishing in this Eagles downfall at 14, Kansas City Chiefs 15, Pittsburgh Steelers at 16. The Chiefs coming off of a loss against the Texans. And Frank, I told Fitz last Friday, I'm going to hold myself and you accountable. If the Chiefs lose to the Texans, I will officially pronounce them dead. In your opinion,
you sure?
Are the Chiefs dead?
They're on life support. I think there's still a pulse. It's not good. But if you look, okay, they have 2 winnable games coming up. I think one's against the Titans. 2 games they should easily win, right? They play the Broncos at home. They play the Chargers at home. Not easy games, not games that this Chiefs team necessarily wins, but all of a sudden the Colts situation, which we're going to get to, all of a sudden kind of opens things up a little bit in the AFC for that 7th seed. Now, the Chargers winning last night was a big problem for the Chiefs. I get that. Like they need the Chargers to kind of fall apart a little bit, but the Chargers have some tough games coming up too. One against one against the Texans, I believe. So I can't shut the lights out yet on the Chiefs. There's not a lot of hope, but I will say this. If the Chiefs somehow get that 7th seed, who would be our Super Bowl pick? It'd be the Chiefs, right? Like we'd pick them to win the AFC. I know they're 6 and 7, but I've talked about this. We talked about this last week. Metrically, if you look at the analytics, this Chiefs team and last year's Chiefs team are the same team. The only difference is the Chiefs cannot win a close game this year. That's unlucky. Last year was really, really lucky. This year's unlucky, but this is not a bad football team. They're just not. Everybody's like, oh, the dynasty's over. They need to rebuild. Like what? But no, they're just fine. And if they could somehow, some way just sneak into the playoffs, I'd pick them to win the AFC. I would. Okay. As crazy as that sounds, I seriously would.
But in this grouping of teams, Frank, we have buried the lead, all right? Because it's our job to be the voice of the people here. Booval is the new name for you. Booval. How in the hell have you moved the Jags down a spot after they win? This is a team that's won 4 straight. They've won 5 of 6. Their one loss was a meltdown to the Texans that never should have happened in a game where, as we just talked about, the Texans defense is absolutely unflappable. And the Jags put up 29 against that defense. And you move them down. Like you have the Jags below the Eagles who can't score on a 5th grade JV Pop Warner team. And you are putting the Jags at what in the hell are you doing, Frank?
Yes. And look, eye test. I hate when college basketball people do like the eye test for the tournaments, but I'm going to do it now. If you've watched the Texans recently and you've watched the Jaguars recently, you're like, wow, this Texans team is nasty. And you watch the Jaguars, you're like, how are they winning? How are they doing this? I don't get it. Like I go back to August. I picked the Jaguars to win this division. I want to be right about that. Just like I picked the Broncos to win the AFC West. I want to be right about these things, but I watch the Jaguars and I watch the Texans every week. And I'm like, these 2 teams aren't the same. Like the Jaguars are getting by, and maybe they could win enough games to get into the AFC South Championship. But I just don't think they're a very good team. I don't. And again, I was all about them before the season. I thought Travis Hunter, Trevor Lawrence with Liam Cohen, and all this stuff. They're just kind of a lukewarm team for me. I don't see them winning a game in the playoffs. Let's put it that way. Whoever goes into Jacksonville, I'll probably be picking the other team, and I don't want to just dump on them. But I just don't see it from them. They're just they're not special really in any way.
I just liked Booval. I just wanted to make sure that I got Booval in. That was
that's
amazing.
Not bad.
Thank you very much. Let's go to 17 through 20 here. You've got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 17. And there's some other teams on this list. I just want to take a pause here because I think we said earlier in the show that there was a time this year, where the Buccaneers might have been one on the Power Rankings. What say we,
man, no,
Frank?
That's right.
Frank's
That's
right.
right.
What do you want to say? Anything you want to say to the world?
The one thing about the Buccaneers, if you look at what they've done this season, they didn't have a bad loss. Every single loss they had this season was to a team with a winning record. And some very, very good teams. And then Sunday happened. You cannot lose to the Saints at home. Like, if I'm going to take you seriously, you cannot lose to the Saints at home. They're probably still going to win this division. If you look at the schedule, all they really need to do is split against the Panthers and they're fine. But, oh my goodness, you can't. Baker Mayfield is really fallen off. Like, if you look at the past few games, it's not there anymore. And it's not like they're getting healthier and Baker Mayfield's getting worse. And Baker Mayfield's playing with a lot of injuries, and that's obviously affecting him. But Tampa Bay has gone from a team where I'm like, maybe they're a little underrated because they just haven't been able to beat the good teams when they were injured. No, you lose to the Saints. I can't trust you anymore.
I said on Friday, I was like, I think the Saints are such a bad football team that I don't even have the capability to win a game against a team that's solid or average or good. I was proven wrong.
They've beat the top
Sunday.
teams in that division on the road now. They beat the Panthers. They beat the Buccaneers. Like, what do we make of that? Like, that's God, boy, the NFC South is just bad. It's just bad.
It's bad. And the AFC North isn't great either. Neither are the Baltimore Ravens. Our producer Hutton Jackson is a diehard Baltimore Ravens fan and has talked a lot about potentially moving on from John Harbaugh. What do you think is the likelihood that the Ravens do part ways with their head coach?
I think whoever loses the AFC North, it's kind of loser leaves town. Fitz, that was for you right there. It's the old wrestling loser leaves town match. In that we kept talking for weeks about how, Mike Tomlin, this disappointing season, he's had a lot of success, which might just need a change. We were talking about the wrong coach. I think John Harbaugh might be that guy. This has been an utterly disappointing Ravens season, and the AFC's there for the taking. We talked about that over and over, but this Ravens team has not made any improvements as it's gone on. And I get a lot of it is Lamar's injury. He doesn't look the same. I get that, but this Ravens team is they're the most disappointing team in the NFL to me. Far more disappointing than the Chiefs, even though they have the same record, because the Chiefs are just losing close games. They're still a pretty good team. The Ravens are a bad football team. A bad football team. There are no signs of life from the Ravens here. I was very stubborn about them. I kept saying, they're going to turn it on. Lamar's back. We're going to see the improvements. And a lot of that was my trust in John Harbaugh to figure out, okay, how can the defense get better? How can you fix the offensive line, which hasn't been very good? I expected Harbaugh to get that done. He has not. And I think that if the Ravens don't make the playoffs in this AFC with Lamar Jackson, one of the generational quarterbacks of our time, I think at that point, the Ravens need to sit down with John Harbaugh and say, is it time? Is it time to just move on? Because if you start all the things we say about Tomlin not winning in the playoffs, since 2014, John Harbaugh is 3-6 in the playoffs. The Ravens have not won multiple playoff games in a season since 2012. Like, this is all of a sudden, all the things we said about Tomlin absolutely apply to Harbaugh.
At what point does it stop being a Lamar problem and it starts being a John Harbaugh problem?
Yeah,
we like to talk a whole lot about Lamar.
And John hasn't gotten it. He hasn't gotten it done. And this season, they're a bad football team. I am so disappointed. I grounded the Ravens. I'm so disappointed in you. Go to your room. Like that. Yeah,
we have 21. We got 21 through 24 up here. Bengals, Colts, Vikings, Falcons. Colts fall 12. They're done, right?
Yeah, I don't think they can win another game. I really don't. Like, Phillip Rivers, what are we doing? Like, I love Phillip Rivers, watching him throughout his career. He is 44 years old and he has not played in 5 years. I've talked over and over and over about the history of 40-plus-year-old quarterbacks. There's one guy who's had any success. That's Tom Brady. Like, Tom Brady's a freak. Like, he is a longevity freak. Like LeBron, like Nolan Ryan, all those guys. I don't think Phillip Rivers is going to come in cold after 5 years, just being a parent of his 14 kids, and do anything for the Colts in midseason here. Like, this is crazy to me. Like, it's fun. It's cool. They got nothing to lose, I guess, because Riley Leonard's their other option. He's hobbling around. But yes, the Colts, it's just a sad end. I don't have any glee with this with the Colts. It is a very sad story for them. I wondered if I should even rank them lower. I just don't think they can win another game. And hats off to Shane Steichen if they do.
All right, let's look at the next group of teams. Commanders, Browns, Saints, Jets. The Browns won a game, lost to the Titans. The Browns lost to the Titans.
But it felt like a win, didn't it? It felt like a win, didn't it? It was like one of those like Shador balls out, and you're like, oh, do the Browns have something here? the rest of the league, sorry, Fitz, should have been drafting Shedeur Sanders before 144 overall or whatever it was, right? Like, there's so many teams you look back on and you're like, oh yeah, you should have really taken a shot on Shedeur Sanders in the 5th round, shouldn't you have? Like, that would have made some sense. Steelers a bunch of times, Raiders a bunch of times. Like, there's so many teams I could list that, why not? It's a 5th round pick, and the Browns did it, and now that guy looks pretty good. Like, I don't know where it's going, but right now as we sit here, Shedeur Sanders coming off a really good game. He's improving. It's impressive. Yes, they moved up more because other teams moved down. Like, the Jets had to move down. Like, I think that was the team. Like, I had to move the Jets down, and just artificially the Browns move up. But you look at this and you're like, the Browns fans should have left that stadium feeling like, yeah, we just lost to the Titans, but hey, that was a pretty good day for us. We saw Shedeur Sanders throw for 364. Like, we know the defense is going to be good going forward, and we lost, so our draft position's still pretty good. So yeah, I think it was a win of a day for the Cleveland Browns on Sunday.
I've always been consistent with you, Frank. You know, I like a lot of body of work before I freak out at the quarterback position. So I would just remind everybody that, just like I've been with every other quarterback, his 2 good games so far were against the Raiders and the Titans. Speaking of which, I guess there's 4 more. I don't think we have time to get to these. I don't know how this happened. Like, suddenly we're out. Frank, great job by you, buddy. I can't see the screen, see who's at the
Wait, what? Who's at 32? That's all the teams,
at 32?
Right? So 32 would be last.
There we go.
Like, look, goodness, it has to be, right? Like, I will say this about, at least the Titans are like battling. Like, I watch the Titans every week, and they're not good by any means. So let's not get that wrong. But in their last 5 games, I think 4 of them have been like, oh, they're feisty. Like, they got blown out once because they're the Titans and they're not very good. The Raiders just get the heck beat out of them every single week now. Like, this is just it. Like, this is who the Raiders are. Like, you look back, they won week 1 against the Patriots, which is the weirdest outcome in a week 1 game I've seen in many, many years. And since then, they are 1-11 with a home win against the Titans, and that's it. Like, this is just, I almost keep expecting every Monday to have a text on my phone when I wake up saying Pete Carroll has been relieved of his duties. That's how bad it is. Like, it's just, I'm sorry, Fitz, there's no hope other than the draft. Like, yeah, Mendoza, he might be coming, he might save you. But right now, like, what about that? Like, Ashton Shenty, like, he's a ghost. And I don't know if that's all him, but he's certainly not overcoming it either. Like, everything about the Raiders is bad right now. It's just awful. Like, I don't know how you watch this team. You watch this team every week still, right? You punch yourself through that? Yeah, I figured you did. I didn't know if you've gotten to the point. I didn't know if you've gotten to the point of like, I'm not watching this Broncos game. I just can't. I cannot watch them get their tails kicked by the Broncos. But you do. I respect it. I don't know how you do it either, because I watch that team. I'm like, oh my goodness, this is so depressing. And I have nothing at stake with the Raiders.
When you get that text, send me a congrats, happy for you, buddy. That's all I need. When you get that Pete Carroll's gone text, you can just send me happy for you. You can check out the rankings. Obviously, follow him on social media at Yahoo Schwab. Check out his power rankings at Yahoo Sports. Frank, we appreciate you, even though you did a terrible job as always.
Appreciate you guys.
It's great work.
Thanks,
Let's
Frank.
see if we can recap some of this. Or at the top of the list, we all know that the number 1 team didn't change, so not a lot there. At the top of the list, the Rams won. I can't see who's 32. It doesn't pop to me. The Texans, the highest riser,
and it's the Raiders,
and the Colts, the biggest faller. I don't think there's a lot of surprises there. Really tough though. It's just a reminder, Carolina, of how disappointing the season has become now for a Colts team that I think the entire fan base felt so much joy just a month ago.
I hate it so much for Colts fans, because Colts fans, I think, have felt so stuck in the middle for so long. They've always been good enough to not pick, in the top 5 in the draft, but also not good enough to make any sort of run in the postseason or even win the division. It's been a minute since they won the division, so I hate that it just feels like the next gut punch for this Colts team. But just look at the risers and fallers. That just shows how crazy this AFC South has been. A division that we both said would be one of the worst ones in football has turned out to be a really exciting race.